Hey everybody, it's time for another real life superhero intro. This time this is another sports combat rock and roll costume intro. Only this one, my first one, which was at nighttime, that was more of a rant version. This is more of a positive review version. This will also be the debut intro for another real life superhero debut and my progress as a real life superhero. So with that being said, let me hit both of the interest themes. I'm using both Kurt Angle's and Jeff Hardy's Impact Wrestling themes. Let me hit the intro right now.
My destiny to the top, top, the top, the top, the top, the top. My destiny at the top, at the top, at the top. My destiny past the top, past the top, past the top. Still my destiny past the top, past the top, past the top. Straight to the top, but then keep heading up. These stars shine the widest yet. About what is real and how it really is still. Feel the pain sometimes feels in the way that your body's strong. Like when you face in this life, there's a lot of time to get a showcase. This feels you again, and the you like the one is short to show how this style is the best in life. Show a way to make it right, make it to the top of my vision. Until you feel there's nothing more for you to say.
Ferocious, I'm fed up, dismissing the competition. You're hopeless, trash, they're efficient. Listen, you want a class on tradition or one condition? Forget the best of the century. Talk about the best of all time, you better mention me. Essentially, I'm the best of what it's to be. I hold my ground, you never take it from under me. Don't run to me, so I'll be trouble. I hit you so many times, you see triple or double instead of one of me. I got more heart, more weight to tear you apart. I lay you down early on, or maybe in the later round. It's no different to me. If you tap out, cash out, or simply pass out for free. Cause face down, really, you barely alive. Cause I'm an animal inside, hear me? Hopefully you see what I mean. Knock you out, have a scene. You were beaten by a triple team. Box you out the whole scene and gleam. Around like my dream, I shine bright. Smash you, front to back. You gon' need hindsight. In fact, when I attack, you're lucky if I leave you intact. I'm prone to overkill. I work you over till I steal your motor skills. It's the same whenever I'm done. You're numb, throw the thumb. And those can't remember their name or where they're from. And some speechless, dumb, looking deaf and dumb. You'll be like 7 days. Get afraid, I'm amazed. Y'all still step up, cause I hit more men than Jenna Jameson in better days. You can't clear your heads, you with a Jenna Hayes.
Hey everybody, it's time for my remade daytime review of the 1996 basketball sports comedy live action animation superhero classic movie Space Jam, starring Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny and Looney Tune characters, Bill Murray as himself, and Bill Murray, Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing, and Muggsy McGee. I think that's his name, something like that. The 5 players. Oh yeah, as and many more in the 1996 movie Space Jam as a real life superhero. Again, this is my daytime review. Reason I decided to redo this review right here is because in my previous one, that was based upon the recently free link that YouTube had uploaded for about 2 weeks. And then just recently, and then just what was it? Yeah, just Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. They removed that free link and made it. You have to purchase. You have to buy it to watch that movie now. So it's back to various video streaming websites. The DVD, or I guess Netflix, something like that, for people who want to watch this film. I have links for the websites to watch this review. I may put them in the description box below, but if you want them, just ask, and I'll provide you with the links. But when going to these websites, be careful of pop-ups and multiple broken players if you do check out these websites. Anyway, that's why I'm reviewing it. So that will still be uploaded, but the comment section will be closed. This is the actual version. So with that being said, let me get started right now. Like I said in part one of this, like I said in the short part one narration, which will also be in the description box below, as is my YouTube social media personality, Douglas Blair Roberts YouTube social media personality based versions. I saw Space Jam for the first time. First heard about it in '96, saw it for the first time in 1997, and ever since then I've been a huge fan. This started it all for basketball, and rewatching this movie just this past Saturday was a fun nostalgic trip back to the 90s, and was just as exciting rewatching it now as it was back in the day. It's actually even more exciting now, because not only does it remind me of the awesomeness of the 90s, the stuff in the 90s that was awesome, but it's one of those movies where it's better now as an adult because I understand all of the references. When I saw the Looney Tunes doing hilarious things, I laughed because it was just the Looney Tunes, but didn't understand most of the references. During the real life references, when the players reference something, I didn't understand back then because I was too young. Now I understand, especially scenes like when Charles Barkley references Madonna when he's praying to get his talent back. And then, like I said, this takes me back to a nostalgia trip of the 90s, 80s, and before, followed by the 2010s, and now the 2020s are my favorite eras of basketball, with the 2000s being my least favorite and worst era of basketball, with only a couple of good things in the 2000s. But on the 90s, 80s, and before, the 90s, with awesome players like Michael Jordan. First off, the ones that appear in this movie: Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Muggsy McGee, I think that's his name. Muggsy McGee, Reggie Johnson, Sean Bradley, and Sean Bradley. These are the ones with big roles in the film. Then the two related to cameos: Steve Kerr and Shaquille O'Neal. And I think I heard about Scottie Pippen making a cameo. I don't remember if he made a cameo or not. Scottie Pippen. Who's the other guy? And then of course my boy Karl Malone and my boy Rodzilla, Dennis Rodman. Who those two I know for sure didn't appear, but they were part of that awesome 90s era. Also, and then NBA star who was before all of them, Larry Bird. He also appeared. He also appears here. So yeah, it takes me back to this awesome basketball era when these guys were young and when these guys were champions and were the star attraction. Their era. And this film, in my opinion, was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. The new Space Jam movie, The new Space Jam movie, in my opinion, does not compare to the awesomeness that was this movie right here, the new Space Jam movie with LeBron. It just doesn't compare. I'm already watching 30 plus minutes of it, and already I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. This movie was way better. And Nostalgia Critic, like I've said in the previous one, was totally wrong. And I heard in the comment section of the video that that was considered one of his worst reviewed films, and I can see why, because it was, like I said in the preview when I first saw it. The last time I saw Space Jam was 2011, and before that, 2 years before, I discovered the Nostalgia Critic, who made going back in time and critiquing entertainment from the past. Who made that popular? Nostalgia Critic. He made going back in time and critiquing stuff from the past. He made that popular. So because of him, I developed an anti-nostalgia phase. I was still nostalgic, but I developed an anti-nostalgia phase. Especially when it was compared to modern day entertainment. And I thought was good. But this right here was one of those films. This right here was one of those movies, because this was one of those movies and television series, just like with the Wish Watcher, with Double Dragon, the Street Fighter, and the Mortal Kombat based cartoons, where anyone can do what the Wish Watcher and Nostalgia Critic was doing, was make a video collage of all the terrible, stupid, and goofy moments from a movie or a television series, and endlessly nitpick them and over-exaggerate how bad they are, to make them look worse than they really are. And that's the case with Nostalgia Critic, which is what he did. He was wrong about everything, saying, "Oh, the Looney Tunes weren't funny." This, in my opinion, is the most funny the Looney Tunes have been. And even as a kid, not understanding most of the reference, I still laugh, because it was the Looney Tunes. It was the Looney Tunes. They said Michael Jordan, his acting ability was terrible. Now, he wasn't as good as maybe Shakespearean actors like Robert Downey Jr. or his co-stars Wayne Knight, who portrayed Stan Pulaski, or Bill Murray, but he was great for basketball. Him and the other basketball players in the movie, they were much better at their characters, in their roles and their characters, as than Shazam was. than Shaquille O'Neal was in Kazam in any movie he's appeared in. So Michael Jordan. So yeah. Michael Jordan, and at times this was so realistic, I kept forgetting I was watching a movie. They did a good job of combining the real world with the real world of that time period with the Looney Tunes world, that I kept forgetting I was watching a movie, especially when they focused on the complete separate real life parts involving the basketball players. The scenes when they were at a basketball game, I actually felt like I was actually at a legitimately at a actual basketball game. So he was dead wrong. This film had it all. The storyline, in my opinion, was great for a kids movie with a ridiculous premise like this. It's a ridiculous premise, but it works for its genre. And the time limit. It wasn't a cash grab. It was only 88. They only borrowed 88 minutes of your time. It's not like films of today, like the newer Space Jam, which was an hour and 50 plus minutes, or garbage or actual real crash grabs in The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, which both of those combined. Both of those were over 2 hours plus long, giving you a total of almost 4 to 5 hours of basically an advertisement to go watch other movies that are not going to be made now. Those were corporate cash grabs. This right here wasn't. They only borrowed 88 minutes of your time and they used it wisely. That's probably the only problem I've had. That it was only 88 minutes. You could have, in my opinion, you could have done so much more. You could have did a bunch. You could have did a bunch of more stuff. You could have did a bunch of stuff. There was never a dull moment in this movie. Right here, other critics like Chuck Jones, the late Chuck Jones, he doesn't have an opinion now because he's dead. But when he was alive, he criticized this movie, saying Bugs Bunny would never go to outside help. Bugs Bunny would never go to outside, get outside help resolve a problem. He would if a group of alien invaders with weapons of mass destruction threatened them with slavery, and the Looney Tunes, who challenged them to basketball, suddenly robbed the NBA players of their talent, and transformed into the monster behemoths, Monstars. Yes, he would. The only way they were going to stand a chance against the Monstars is if they got the greatest basketball player of that time period, and maybe of all time, and that's Michael Jordan. That's the only way they were going to win. That's the only way they were going to win. That's the only way they were going to win. You saw they couldn't actually fight them. Maybe they could, but they had those weapons. You saw what Yosemite Sam, when they reduced to Yosemite Sam, Looney Tunes' most aggressive character. You saw him. They blew him up. There was nothing left but him except for a burnt charcoal body and underwear. That was all that was left of Yosemite Sam when the alien shot him. So yeah, that's for any critics. And then the storyline. The storyline, in my opinion, was one of the best ever. Storyline, in my opinion, that was one of the best ever. This, in my opinion, I appreciate the contributions of the late Chuck Jones, Bob Clampett, Tex Avery, and that other guy. I think his name is Terrence Termite, something like that. Of their contributions to the Looney Tunes character and for paving the way. But I'm not a super Looney Tunes fan like everyone else. I'm not a super Looney Tunes fan in appearance. I'm a Looney Tunes fan, but when it comes to classic cartoon studios, I'm Hanna-Barbera, Disney, Marvel, and DC. Fleischer Studios, who gave us the Popeye, Betty Boop, and the Fleischer, the old school Superman television series, and Felix the Cat. What was that other studio? Oh yeah, and Filmation, who Filmation and Rankin Bass, who actually infused both of these studios for Hanna-Barbera. Filmation did the He-Man cartoons and many more, and Rankin Bass did the Thundercats television series. Those are my favorite old school cartoon studios, or old school cartoon characters in general. So I actually enjoy, just like with the Tom and Jerry franchise, I actually enjoy their 90s and their modern versions more than the original 50s and 60s versions that made these Looney Tunes household names. And this Space Jam adventure is the best adventure they were involved in. This was the best adventure Space Jam was involved. This was the best adventure and the best in the Looney Tunes franchise. Right here, them teaming up with Michael Jordan, to save to play basketball and save the world from the Monstars alien boss. It's awesome. It's still awesome now as it was back then. Yeah, and the storyline, like I said, the storyline was the aliens. The storyline was the I keep forgetting his name, but Danny DeVito's character. His amusement park is getting low ratings and low attendance. So because their attractions suck, they need some new attractions. So and they see the Looney Tunes, so they send the aliens on a mission to Earth to recruit the Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes trick them into aliens into letting them defend themselves first before they're taken into slavery. So the Looney Tunes challenged the aliens to something that the aliens couldn't possibly beat them at, and that's basketball, because the aliens are dumb and they're short. So the aliens are naive, dumb, and short. So the aliens, the Monstars, the aliens, they, what do they do? Oh yes, they get a trench coat and attend a basketball game in disguise, and they turn into liquid form. They turn to liquid form and rob Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, and McGee of their talent, and while during a training session, show the Looney Tunes the new powers they acquired. They transform themselves into the Monstars. So the Looney Tunes go to outside help and get the best basketball player ever, and that's Michael Jordan. They lured him to that location. Michael Jordan. Well, he can't practice in golf attire, which is what he's wearing. So he has Bugs Bunny and Daffy go on a suicide mission involving a wild dog to his house to get his old gym attire so he could play, and they practice and so on. Which another thing I mentioned, like I said, they did a great job of combining real life NBA basketball playing with crazy, zany, cartoonish comic book, Looney Tune action, violence, and comedy. Like I said, there was never a dull moment. There was never a dull moment in filming. My favorite, best scenes, like I said, are the game itself, which the entire movie was built up. To the game itself, the entire basketball game, the Looney Tunes versus the Monstars, the Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes versus the Monstars themselves. The 4-part ending where the Monstars become good guys and they stand up to their ruthless boss and send him on a rocket to the moon or Moron Mountain, wherever he came from. Then give the start. Then put their hands on the balls to give the NBA players their talent and powers back. Then offer to stay with the Looney Tunes by comically imitating the Looney Tunes ending credit sequences. Then number two, what does he do in number 2? Oh yeah, and then number 2, Michael Jordan's epic entrance to his baseball game when he comes back in a cartoonish alien spaceship just in time with R. Kelly's "I Believe I Can Fly" in the background. Number 3, the scene where he gives Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley and everyone their powers back, and then the part where they all question his talent because Michael Jordan retired from basketball and he plays baseball, and then Wayne Knight character says, "You hear that, Jordan? They don't think you can play anymore, man." And Jordan says, "There's only one way to find out." And that awesome ending where it says, "Up as a part of the Chicago, welcome back, Chicago Bulls star Michael Jordan." That music plays back, which almost felt like real life, and is still one of the most heroic endings ever. And that's the last I ever saw of Michael Jordan until in recent times with the crying Michael Jordan faces memes. That was the last I saw of Jordan. That was my final memory of Jordan, with him playing ball and dunking, and the film ending there with I Believe I Can Fly Like an Eagle playing in the credits. Then that other song. Yes, film had an awesome soundtrack with those 2 awesome songs, the iconic Space Jam theme, and the Monica song, "Anything for You," where "I will cross the ocean for you." That song, the late Coolio's "Hit 'Em High," and so awesome soundtrack. And then the opener, the awesome iconic opener, which shows Michael Jordan as a boy. Then flash forwards to him as a grown man playing basketball. Then all the basketball players, Bradley, Barkley, and Ewing, who all got their talent stolen, their character arc, and their journey to reclaim their talent and see what was wrong with them were, like I said, my all-time favorite and best scenes. There was never a dull moment. Was still one of the best and most exciting kids movies of all time. Yeah, new Space Jam was terrible. The only other thing I didn't like about rewatching this awesome classic was, at the time I saw this was this past Saturday, I learned about Sean Bradley's horrific accident in 2021, where while riding his bike, he was struck in the back and paralyzed from the chest down and rendered a paraplegic, man. Paraplegic. See, I like going back to the past and looking up all of these icons, all these memorable icons who did these memorable roles, scenes, etc., and seeing where they are in the present, and hearing, and everything was fine until I wrote that. That actually put me in a sad mood. That just like that, this guy's life was suddenly this guy's normal life was suddenly ended just like that. He's been out of basketball since 2005, but he was doing a bunch of other things until that horrific incident happened, and now he's fighting, rehabilitating. He's more positive than I am about his injury, which I respect, but I'm just sad about that. So yeah, salute to Sean Bradley for once again making my childhood, because like I said, those Michael Jordan, the basketball players, this is the coolest and greatest thing they've ever done. Michael Jordan, just like with the late Tupac Shakur, even though he rose to fame playing basketball and a little bit of baseball as an athlete, I like him better as an actor. This right here, teaming up with Bugs Bunny to save the world from the Monstars, is the coolest thing he's ever done. Tupac Shakur, I like his film and acting career much better than I knew him as a rapper, even though it was hip hop where he rose to fame. So yeah, Michael Jordan. But going back to Sean Bradley, and rest in paradise, Sean Bradley's career, even though he's been done since 2005, and life, one of my all-time favorite basketball players. And it's sad to see what happens to him. And prayers goes out to him and his family, and hope during his rehabilitation he can eventually walk again and regain some resemblance of his old life. So this was my re-review of Space Jam. This movie, I was already planning a comeback. This movie makes me want to return to wrestling and debut in other combat and vehicle-based sports. I was already planning on that before this movie, but I really want to now, just after seeing Michael Jordan here. So what an awesome nostalgia trip back to the 90s. New Space Jam movie looks atrocious, and it's already atrocious. I'm 30 minutes in and I've not been entertained yet. This was a once in a lifetime. You want to do a Space Jam sequel, you should have did it in the 90s. You should have did it in the 90s and early 2000s, when these people were still around. That's it for Space Jam. You want to hear the rest of the music? Turn the video off right now. See the other parts and the other versions. Links will be in the description box below. Alright, let me get out of here. Yeah. Oh, and of course, as you can see, the basketball, like I said, since this was a superhero review, it's all about the costume and props. So yeah, you have this costume, my sports combat rock and roll costume, and this prop, an actual green basketball.
The man you got him, and you can spot him every Thursday night on TNA. It's like a spotlight and main events in his DNA. Who you say? It's Kurt Angle, Benito, settle. Best in the world, only guy in the sport with a gold medal. Each of both ends to the center. Physical and mental, cause he's simply better. No playing around with no second attempts. And lay it down for a 3-second nap on the mat. Staring at the ceiling on your back is appealing. Get yourself a match and you gon' do that. It's a rap, trapped in the game. You a rat in the maze. It's the maze how I made my name. My fame is a runaway train on the track. I fight like my life's on the line every night. In fact, that's why I'm gonna take that strap.